Nice. Bunch of people joining for a Friday. That's good news. I think we have an amazing group here.
Do we get some elevator music or Taylor Swift or something? Like normally, you know.
If I could vote, I would play the Lord of the Rings instrumental version. The movies are back in the cinemas for the 25th anniversary, the extended editions. And as my birthday gift to myself, I and my husband are going to be watching all three. I grew up in a country where we didn't have cinemas growing up, so I've always wanted to see them in the cinemas, and so I am like so excited to watch them. A lot of hours, but I think the only thing I hope I don't do is like every time me and my best friends watch it, we can like say the dialogues before they say it, and then it becomes really annoying for anyone who hasn't seen it. So I assume everyone else is going to be doing similar things, but I am just very excited for Middle-earth times.
Maybe it'll be some like Rocky Horror Picture Show where it becomes like ritualized, like audience participation, where people throw props or have hand motions at certain points in the movie.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing. I actually had an elven like robe too. I think it's somewhere packed inside. But that would be amazing for me to do. We have a bunch of people tweeting as well, so we're just going to welcome everyone. GM Eversman, great to see you in all our live streams. Have loved that you've been sharing all our content. GM Sarah, GM Anthony, and Durgadas as well. And Durgadas says, I did that last time and they had all three in the theater, spent all day. Best time spent, I would say. Oh yeah. Anyway, I could talk about Lord of the Rings like forever. So today is not about that. Today is about privacy, and we're talking about all things security, privacy, and we have some of our favorite builders here. Love all of your projects, by the way. Like I'm a big fan. I use every single like I use Tor, Revoke.cash, like Rotki. Like again, everyone here. I love, and we love what y'all are building, and hope you get tons of funding this epoch. Let's start with some introductions for folks who aren't as familiar. Let's start with who you are and what your project is about. Give us a little rundown. And as an introduction, I'm Michelle. You've probably seen me in the live streams, but I have marketing here at Octant. And then over to you, Nico.
Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, I'm Nico. You've seen me in these live streams last 2 weeks. Hope you're not too bored of my face. I'm doing community at Octant, as you know, and yeah, super excited to chat privacy and security with these amazing projects. I would say let's start with a round of intros about yourselves and the projects. Feel free to also like do a little showcase of your app or like the way you use your project, because I think that can be quite interesting for some of you. So yeah, Lefteris, why don't we start with you?
Hey, good morning or good evening, depending on where you are. So my name is Lefteris. I am the founder of Rotki. So to give a small intro of what Rotki is, I suppose, right? Yeah. So for those that don't know, Rotki is essentially a portfolio management and accounting and tracking tool that the main difference that it has with everything else that we see out there in the market is that it's a local application that just runs normally on your computer. And the idea is you don't share any data with a cloud server like, I don't know, Bitcoin tax, coin tracking, Coinly, and all of that all of these other solutions. The idea came to me when I needed to do my taxes. So it's a pretty like let's say you build it kind of thing. And back then in 2017 they had only Bitcoin tax, and they were asking me to put all of my what do you say, like all of my Bitcoin addresses in their app, in the web. And I was like, no, what, you must be kidding me, what the heck. And since then, I realized that everybody should have a way to track and do accounting locally. I don't have a demo to show you right now. I thought that this was on on Monday. I will try to show a small demo. But the idea is that you just input all of your EVM addresses, your Bitcoin addresses, your Solana, your Polkadot substrate stuff, and then you can connect all of your exchanges, and it gathers bird's eye view of your entire portfolio and what you did and when, and then you can do accounting on it depending on your jurisdiction. And why is this very much related to privacy? Um, I mean, for the obvious reason that you keep your data locally and you don't share it. And this is really important in the sense that we've seen so many, unfortunately, like especially last year in 2025, and especially in France, we've seen so many attacks on people, like home invasions. Like one of the people who were hit also like contacted how to use Rotki right after the problem happened because of you don't know how you will be targeted, but the more data you put out there, the bigger the attack vector is against you. And I mean, to be honest, for France, we've also heard about sharing data with the tax office, and then someone in the tax office was actually working and sharing information with criminals. In that case, I don't think that anything can help you, but I'm just trying to show why I believe that we need a solution where at least you choose who to share your data with, and you don't just send it out to the cloud with everybody. Yeah, so that's a small summary.
Nice. Thank you, Lefteris. Let's go on with Lauren.
Yeah, I would love to. My name's Lauren. I work with Shutter Network, and Shutter is an encryption as a service protocol. And picking up where Lefteris left off, when we think of privacy, we don't think of like secrets, like hiding, taking something and putting it away from view forever and always. We think about power. We think about privacy as the ability to control what information you share, how you share it, with whom you share it, and when you share it. And so we specialize in a specific type of encryption called commit and reveal threshold encryption. And I'll get into what that means in more detail later on. But essentially, we're not talking about permanent privacy. We're talking about strategic privacy in order to protect you and make your interactions more fair and more credibly neutral. And this has a whole host of applications. Our moonshot, as you may have heard, is to encrypt the mempool on Ethereum mainnet. And we have some amazing news. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on. But there's also a whole long tail of applications for commit and reveal encryption. And this includes private voting, sealed bid auctions, sealed bid RFPs, gaming, time capsules, and so much more. So thank you very much for having us on this live stream. And thank you for including us in Octant Epoch 10. It's an incredible round, and there are so many amazing projects. We're just thrilled to be a part of it.
Love it. Thank you, Lauren. Let's go on with Al from Tor.
Hey everyone, my name's Al. I'm the fundraising director at the Tor project. When we say the word Tor, it can mean a lot of different things. One is it's a nonprofit that's been around since 2006. Two is Tor is the Tor network, which is a decentralized network that provides privacy at the network layer. All of the relays in the network are run by volunteers. And then there's the third category, which is Tor, like the applications that users use. So maybe Tor browser, which a lot of people are probably familiar with here today. And that allows somebody to just download a modified version of Firefox and access the network level privacy that you get through the Tor network. One of the other great things about the Tor network is that you can build it into other tools. So any kind of application, any kind of website, any kind of service can use Tor on the back end to provide network level privacy to their users. And that's one of the great amplifying effects of the Tor network, is that we're not just building a user application for our users, we're building Tor for everyone to use, for everyone to implement, and is the core of our ethos as an open source project. I can show Tor browser right here if you've never seen it before, assuming that the screen share will allow me to show. No, now it's showing the whole desktop. What I want to do is show the address bar of Tor browser. Can you see the address bar of this, or is it just showing the screen? Ah, address bar is there. Amazing. Okay, so if you download Tor browser, this is what it looks like. You boot it up, you use it just like a regular browser. You know, instead of Google, we've got DuckDuckGo for privacy. And I'll show you what looking at a website looks like. So here I am on the Tor website. And one of the cool features is that you can see all of the relays that your traffic is going through. So you can check and verify that your traffic is going to the Netherlands, then it's going to Finland, and then it's going to the Netherlands again. And it's bouncing across these 3 IPs before it lands on the Tor project website. And all of this is verifiable because our code is open source. So I encourage everybody to download Tor browser and check it out. We've got a version for any platform you're using, mobile and desktop, and see how easy and how fast it has become. If you haven't used Tor browser in a while, we've put a lot of effort into improving the speed and improving the usability for the average user. So check it out and download it from our website. We're really happy to be here, and I'll pass the mic now.
Awesome. Thank you, Al. Rosco, last but not least, please
Hey
go ahead.
guys, I'm Rosco, the founder of Revoke.cash. Revoke.cash is a platform for managing your token approvals. So as a recap, whenever you use decentralized applications like DEXs or NFT marketplaces, you always have to give these platforms access to some of your tokens. So let's say if you're swapping USDC, you have to give Uniswap access to your USDC. Or if you're selling a Pudgy Penguin, then you have to give OpenSea access to your Pudgy Penguins. That's how basically all of DeFi is set up. And if you're a reasonably big crypto user, you might end up with dozens of these token approvals or like this access that these apps have. And because every decentralized app is running like smart contract code, which can contain bugs, the more access that you give, the more likely it is that might be exploited somewhere down the line. And so that's kind of where Revoke comes in, gives you an overview of all of the apps that have access to which of your tokens, and basically allows you to revoke that. And we've like expanded that with some additional functionality. We also have like a pre-transaction browser extension. We have like now also you can see your EIP 7702 delegations and other kinds of delegations on the Revoke dashboard. Yeah, I think that's that.
Incredible. And sweet, we got 365 views already, so that's awesome. Love that everyone's tuning in. We don't usually see as much excitement on Friday streams, but I think this topic and all of you are just incredible. And so we are beating the Twitter algorithm, and everyone's just tuned in. Privacy and security are hot topics, as they have been for better parts of the last year and this year. Speaking of recaps, though, let's talk about 2025. Rosco, I'll start with you. How was it for you? How was it for Revoke? What are some highlights and milestones that you all reached? And yeah, would love to get your recap for everyone here.
Yeah. So I'll try to give like a little recap, like both on a company level and also sort of more on the broader security thing. So I guess on a company level, I would highlight a few things. I think one is that it has been a pretty big year in terms of Ethereum's launched EIP 7702, which now enables things like batch transactions, and in the future will enable a bunch more smart account things on regular wallets. And Revoke was, as far as I know, the first dApp to support EIP 7702 on mainnet immediately as it went live. So you can now do batch revoking, where you revoke 10, 20, 30 approvals in a single transaction. So I think that's a really big highlight, and I think it's also nice to see sort of the whole ecosystem slowly adopting these new standards, where I think now, like, if you swap on Uniswap, they also batch the approval and the swap into a single transaction. So we'll see a lot of UX improvements. I think on the other side, a little bit like less positive. I feel like like sort of the public goods funding and grants funding has been declining a lot over the past year. I think Octant is one of the few organizations still really pushing that charge. A lot of like other sort of big initiatives that have existed in the past are kind of like declining, and I feel a lot of blockchains and like foundations have seen quite a decline there. So on the financial side, it's been a bit of a struggle for Revoke. And so now we are starting to introduce some like monetization features, and we'll see more of that in 2026. So that we'll be able to like be a sustainable company and continue keeping people safe for the foreseeable future. And I think like more broadly as an ecosystem, I feel like 2025 has been a pretty good year in terms of security. We haven't really seen too many like huge exploits, whereas I feel like in the years before 2024, 2023, and before, there were like some really big incidents. I think 2025, of course, there was I think the Bybit hack was the one sort of big thing at the start of the year, essentially, which is still really crazy. But after that, the year has, I feel like, mostly been pretty quiet in terms of big exploits and big hacks. And so hopefully that's maybe a symptom of a better awareness of the community around security and people really adopting more security practices. I think that's my recap.
Absolutely. No. And I think you're right. There is more awareness, but there's still a long way to go in terms of even general, just exploits and security. Anytime I see a tweet, I actually immediately go to Revoke.cash and I check my wallets, and I'm like, who has access? What do I not know? So I've made it a habit. You probably should be more proactive.
Good to hear.
But I'm excited to see the monetization features. I think it makes a lot of sense. It's great to see you thinking about that already, and sustainability is so important for all projects. And so I think as users, we are spoilt by expecting free things just because it's crypto and Ethereum and Web3. But in the general world, just because you think you need something or deserve something doesn't mean you're going to get it for free. I think the real world operates on a very much pay-to-play model, and I think it is something we need to, as users, just be aware of. Like, if we want to see more security tools, we need to start paying for them. That's just a basic. So yeah, I mean, especially if you think about how much money is at stake too for a lot of folks, and how much money stays in wallets. Like, the least the least you can do is at least pay for tools that help you be more aware and secure. Let's go over to you, Al. Tell us more about how the year was for Tor, and tell us more about the milestones. It's been, and I echo the pain. It's sad to see the drops in public goods funding, both at a government level. I know that was something that we had spoken about last year too, and just the drop in grants. Of course, and from the Octant perspective, we always hope to see other sustainable models for funding, both from organizations and just in general. But it was an unfortunate era where we saw most funding sources dry up for projects, and a lot of projects have had to fight hard to survive. So how was the year for you all? And tell us more about your recap from last year.
Yeah, thank you. I'm probably going to echo some points that both you and Rosco have shared, but the public goods funding ecosystem changing, and the human rights and digital privacy and general open source funding has also changed. And that has left a lot of really good, really important projects feeling kind of rug pulled, I think. Like, there was a really dependable source of funding that was just consistent for many, many years. And to have that go away was disorienting. I think the Tor project, that was quite a shock, and it did affect us, but we have such a strong community, and we have developed really deep relationships with a lot of different kinds of supporters who have, they're coming at privacy from different angles, from human rights or protecting journalists, or wanting to protect their corporate IP, or wanting to add value to their product. So we have a lot of different supporters, and we were able to kind of rally them and say, hey, this is changing. Like, the level of support that's out there for projects like Tor is, it's going down, and we need your help to connect to resources. And that's been great. So the positive side of all of that is the proof that the Tor community really cares about keeping Tor around, and that many people and many organizations have stepped up. That doesn't mean that we don't need more consistent support. In an environment where millions of dollars evaporate overnight, we're going to need to replace that over the long term. And that just takes a lot of work and a lot of person power to connect to different resources. So that's been a challenge, but one of the positive things is that we're seeing the fruits of connecting with a broader community of not just funders, but builders. If you were at Dev Connect, or you were watching the videos that came out of Dev Connect, you will have seen an exciting announcement from Vitalik and from Tor's co-founder, Roger Dinkeldine, that the Ethereum Foundation is working on integrating Tor into part of Ethereum to provide network level privacy. And we're working directly with the Ethereum Foundation to assist with this integration. And it's just really exciting to see these two communities come together and to build together. The Tor network is there to be this base layer for any kind of project that wants to build it in. And to get to work with the Ethereum Foundation and to see this come to fruition, to bring network level privacy to this ecosystem, is really cool. And we're really proud of that and excited about that.
Incredible, and big congrats. It is not an easy feat to work with Ethereum Foundation. So I think both from a prestige level, but also an execution level. So that is fantastic news in navigating that, and also just in terms of being such a big highlight. Lauren, let's go over to you. And Shutter, how was the year for you? What are some of the milestones that you all had? And let's hear from your recap.
Yeah, 2025 was a pretty banger year for us. I would say the highlight came at the end when we proposed EIP 8105, which is Universal Enshrined Encrypted Mempool. So this is building an encrypted mempool to prevent malicious MEV and real-time censorship directly into the Ethereum protocol itself. Second, we also built on our existing private voting framework to introduce permanent private voting. And this allows for people to vote in DAO situations and keep their votes encrypted permanently, and for us to do compute over encrypted data in order to tally the results and publish them in a verifiable manner. In addition to that, we collaborated with PSE, the privacy stewards of Ethereum, to publish a report on the state of private voting in 2026. And there we looked at 12 different private voting protocols and benchmarked them against 24 different properties and got a really good sense about kind of how progress is being made, what's working, and what was tested and didn't work so well. We also improved the Shutter API to introduce event-based decryption triggers. So before this, all of Shutter was commit and reveal encryption, where you had to specify a time period at which the information would be decrypted. Now we're able to do that based on an event which triggers decryption. So that opens up a whole new range of design space and use cases to apply Shutter. And then also at the end of the year, Shutter DAO 0x36, which is a funding organization in the Shutter network, approved a proposal by Octant to dedicate a portion of our treasury to Octant v2. And this is super exciting because we have been big fans of Octant and everything you have done for such a long time. But we're also really inspired by this vision of Octant v2 being able to put our treasury to work, earn yield from that, and then channel it back into our DAO and into our ecosystem in order to power ecosystem growth. And I think it goes to that point that we were discussing on the call earlier about sustainability. Our implementation of Octant v2 won't make us fully sustainable. We don't have that big of a treasury, unfortunately, but it is a step to ensure that we don't have any assets sitting in our treasury unproductive. We're putting all of those assets to work in order to power our mission and our work. So those are some of the highlights from 2025.
Love that. And it's been great to both welcome you all as a partner in our vaults and to start seeing you all use them. I think that's going to be exciting. And it's just things coming full circle too, from us giving grants to actually seeing treasuries being used more productively and to really just see more sustainable funding. I think that's, I love that philosophy, and I love that we're seeing this, and I hope we get to see more of it. There are some exciting updates, even in the next couple months, that I can't just speak to yet from a partner perspective. And I am going to be, we're just excited to be working on them behind the scenes. Lefteris, let's go over to you. You, of course, have been a big proponent of funding and have been a strong voice in the public good space as well. And as a Rotki user, it's been really cool to see a lot of the features rollouts with the analytics and a lot of, I'd say I love how attuned to users and subscribers you are. So taking in all of the feedback and whatnot too. Tell us more about how last year was for you and for Rotki. What were some of the milestones and highlights for you all?
Yeah, of course. So basically, 2025 was a very busy year. As you also mentioned, as a Rotki user, we have tried to listen to the users a bit more, because and this is something that I got accused by initial users at first, that because I made it for me at first, it was like what Lefteris wants should happen. So it's kind of like I'm a very special kind of user also, and it's different. Like my needs are different to the typical users. there is so many things that happened, because also, as Rosco mentioned, Ethereum did many things in 2025, like not only AEP 7702, but all the staking changes in Pectra and the how do you say, the consolidation of validators, the depositing of up to 2048 for a validator. Basically, you can withdraw from the execution layer now. You can do so many new things, and they all need to be tracked properly. And we had to quickly put out releases to both do this, and also we don't do much with EIP 7702. We just track that, okay, this is a transaction that does EIP 7702. Then a lot of other big things that we did was we added support for other chains, specifically. I know that many people don't like it, but Solana. Again, there is a lot of users that wanted it. Basically, it was our most requested issue in by far in GitHub. So basically, if you count the thumbs up that they give, it's like, please do it, please do it, please do it. And we've also made steps towards making Rotki more of a like mix between accounting, tracking, and a wallet. So you can actually make actions. You can interact with your address from inside Rotki. You can send tokens. You can send ETH. And also we had a lot of more integration with other services such as Monerium and Gnosis Pay, and we also want to add the Argent card, or however they have renamed themselves right now. So a lot more kind of traditional finance and crypto accounting, to make it really a place where everybody can track their entire financial portfolio. And of course, we are trying to make it faster, because one of the biggest things that people complain about Rotki is that being a local app and trying to do everything inside this one system, it's slow, but there are ways to improve. So we are really putting a lot of developer resources there. I don't want to repeat too much about the funding stuff, as the others said already. Yeah, it has, from a funding perspective, it has been a very hard year because of the projects. Indeed, like basically everything stopped apart from Octant. But Gitcoin also is there, but it has been like kind of reduced to a very minimum amount. And we are also trying a lot towards sustainability. We have always been trying to make money from the users. From day one, in like when I started this, I said, okay, we will have the premium subscriptions. They were at 10 euros per month, I think, at first. For this year, for November, actually, we took the first step in actually changing this, and we increased the price. And this was like a very, very difficult time for us, because and it still is, because November is just 2 months ago. We had a big turn from users because they were like, oh, it's too much. Others said it's okay. But now we're trying to prove to users that like if you want something, you need to be able to pay for it. And having had no price change since 2017, I mean, okay, we can change our price once, but to anybody ever doing price changes, just change price every year, perhaps not once like 8 years later, because people don't like this. No matter how much you need it, people won't like it if you take many years to change the price. And we've also added release sponsorships, so that wealthy individuals or companies can sponsor specific releases. And this has been a nice idea. It hasn't been like, it's not a huge cash cow, but it actually brings something extra in. And this is nice because both people who like your project can showcase that, hey, we like it, and they get an NFT, and they also get they become part of the app itself and of our download page. So for 2025, I guess that's mostly and we had a very nice interaction with all of the community in Argentina in DevConnect. We had a booth there, and many people came. We talked about Rotki. We had a demo. We were showcasing the application, and we got a lot of positive feedback. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, thank you. DevConnect was awesome. We were neighboring booths, and I got a lot of your Rotki stickers. They were so amazing. My dad's a big fan of Mafalda, and he really loved the Rotki bird Mafalda mashup. Loved it so much. Yeah, cool. Amazing year for all of you. So proud of you all, and all the hard work that you've been doing in this space that is so hard. Privacy and security, it's so hard yet so important. So actually, more towards the end of last year, we saw like a big bump, let's say, in the privacy meta and narrative. And I would love to hear your take on why did that happen? Like, what was the reason privacy became so important? And do you think this interest has expanded beyond Web3, or is it something that still lives within our bubble? Let's start with maybe with you, Lefteris. Now you're up here with me.
Yeah. Yeah, to be honest, I have no idea what happened. I really have no idea what happened. Like, I don't know why. Some people just started tweeting about it. It even became a funding vector. So like, okay, we're gonna invest in I don't know, in AI, in cloud, and in privacy. And I'm like, wow, what is that? That sounds so cool. I don't know if it will stay. It's very recent, right? As you said, end of last year, I started noticing it like right before DevConnect, and talked with some people about it during DevConnect. I guess to see if this interest will last, or if it's just I don't want to call privacy a fad, but from that perspective of let's try to find something that will make us money. Like I was really hearing it from the point of view of, oh yeah, privacy can make us money. Let's invest in privacy now, which is like completely, I don't know, tone deaf. Like you have these people here in this call that have been focusing on trying to help people for privacy for years, decades, and it's like suddenly someone says, okay, quick money, privacy. So I don't have good input here, but I do know that there are organizations like the Web3 privacy guys that want to snatch on this interest. And they are doing amazing work. Like really love the people of Web3 privacy, and they think that the more we can capture that kind of attention, the better, which is probably right. But I'm just it's not my thing to like try to capture attention of people, etc. I just don't. I'm not good at community stuff. But people who can, that would be a great thing to do.
I'm not good at community stuff, says one of the best community guys ever. Love it.
Very, very humble, very humble. What do you think, Lauren? Any ideas?
I think organizations like Web3 Privacy Now have been doing an amazing job pushing the conversation, creating events. They're not the only ones, but they're certainly one of the most visible ecosystems in Ethereum. I would say the Tornado.cash trial had a lot to do with it over the summer. I think it kind of gave people a current event that they could focus on and rally around. And I think in parallel to that, the fact that you had Oxbow and others building privacy pools and kind of new technologies which are privacy focused but not kind of scary and going to land you in jail tools. I think there was newfound kind of enthusiasm and excitement around privacy technology. And then, of course, like in everything in crypto, it kind of had this self-perpetuating effect. So you saw, the token price for Zcash and Monero up and to the right. And as a result, people kind of jumped on the bandwagon. But I think, our job, all of us, is to ensure that privacy is not a passing fad, that we take this opportunity to learn about privacy, the philosophy behind it, the implications of it, and the technology that we can use to empower ourselves.
Love it. Thank you for that take.
By the way, if you do want a privacy coin, which is not up and to the right yet, SHU, the Shutter token, not financial advice.
Let's go. Rosco, what do you think? And maybe also you can mix it a little bit with security. You mentioned not that many major hacks, but I think the Bybit one was the largest. So I think maybe it had as much impact, unfortunately, as many hacks throughout the year. Do you think that brought more awareness to people? How was it in general for the security space?
I think definitely it brought a lot more awareness, and I think maybe even the fact that we saw that like is a huge hack at the start of the year might have sort of scared the rest of the ecosystem into adopting some better practices. And I'm not sure, but we can speculate that maybe that's why we didn't see so many hacks after. I think the biggest hack still that we see, as was the case with the Bybit hack, but also with like some other big hacks in the years before, is that that just being able to compromise like a developer's account on a project where this account has certain privileges and is able to then use that sort of company account. I think that's maybe one of the scariest things that can happen, because that's essentially what happened with Bybit, right? Like there was a developer of the Safe wallet, right, that got compromised, and then through that they were able to get like some malicious code on that wallet, on that app. And that's something that we've seen before, also with the big like the Ledger thing from a year earlier, where there's these pretty big companies. That's then still it's something that's, I guess, it's also maybe hard to solve, because there are only so many sort of like safeguards that you can have. But I guess having those safeguards there in the first place is a good place to start. And then I think the other real big lesson from the Bybit hack is that we shouldn't like just blindly trust UIs. But we are still sort of in this situation where we have to, because our infra isn't really good enough. Like I think a lot of people were also pointing fingers at Ledger, right? Where, if you have like this tiny little device and it just says 0xAE15E5, can't really verify that that is what you're seeing on your like on the safe UI or like on some other UI. So I think that's a big thing going on now, that like these hardware wallets and just wallets in general are really trying hard to make it easier to match that what they're trying to do, or like what they're actually doing is also the same as what they're trying to do. And we're already in a much better spot than, like, let's say even 2 years ago. But I do see that as a really big sort of thing that people are focusing on in the ecosystem, just making their wallets, software and hardware wallets, easier to understand and to like process the information that you see on there.
Thank you, Rosco. And last but not least, Al, I would love to hear from you. Tor is also maybe like not fully in the Web3 bubble, right? Like it's, I mean, a lot of people outside of Web3 use it, maybe the majority. So I would love to, I think maybe you can give us the perspective from that side. Like, is it really a bubble, the privacy kind of boom inside Web3, or has it expanded beyond?
I think that if we step back and look back to Tor's beginning in 2006, there have been waves of interest and waves of disinterest in privacy and security. There'll be something that happens that like is a flashpoint, and then there's a rush to invest, there's a rush to fix, and then there'll be a lull. And this has just happened over and over again. It's been over 10 years since Edward Snowden blew the whistle on the NSA, and that was a really big moment in privacy, where privacy was the hot topic, especially in open source software. And that wave crashed, and more waves have come and gone. So I think that the thing that gives me hope actually about this is that with every moment, with every like rise where there's privacy on the mind and it feels like it is the thing that people are interested in, there's sort of a raising of the level of the general understanding that privacy is important. Whether or not people understand privacy tech, that's another question. But the understanding that like if you put something online, it's going to be monetized, it'll be scraped by something that trains an LLM. It'll be used by Facebook to run monetized ads and influence politics. Like, the average person is beginning to understand that what they put on the internet is not only not private, but that has real world implications, and that those privacy violations are not just theoretical, and they're not just like, they matter in the real world. And I think that from like a broad narrative perspective, privacy and security is becoming a thing that people accept as necessary, as both necessary and lacking. Like, they realize that there is not as much privacy as they would like, that these privacy violations cause harm. So I'm given hope by that. We don't hear the line like, why would you need privacy if you're not doing anything wrong anymore? Like, that used to be the big talking point. And people have moved beyond that. They understand that there is harm in privacy violations. So to me, that's what matters the most, is moving the needle on that public understanding that privacy matters. Not everyone needs to be a privacy tech expert, but everyone does deserve privacy.
Absolutely. So going from privacy, sorry, one thing I do have to say is I think we've all done stupid shit when we were younger. I just think now it's just so much more amplified in terms of consequences. Like, before, no one was recording you all the time, so you could do whatever, say whatever, and it's fine. It's not going to be held against you years and years and years later. Now, I think the first thing that happens when anyone gets elected, even or announces something, is there's like entire searches happening. And so I think that's something that, especially kids who are growing up now, maybe that's also why there's a 24-hour like preference for stories and just, messages being posted and then disappearing, because there is just always a camera or, some form of like just, I don't know, visibility. And now we're learning to live with the consequences of it, both politically and otherwise, and the misuse of it. But going to exciting developments and some more positive news, let's hear, what are you most excited about? What are the things that are coming up and that you are looking forward to that you can share with us? Let's talk about that. Al, we'll just start with you, and then we'll go in reverse order then.
Okay. From the Tor perspective, there's two things I'm really excited about. One is that we have been rewriting the Tor code base from C into Rust. And that project has been going on for multiple years now, but it's really coming to a more mature place. And that's super exciting. There are just some memory safety challenges with C. You know, C was a good choice when Nick and Roger were writing Tor back in 2003, but it's not a good choice today. And using C makes it a lot more sluggish to bring new, cool, innovative improvements to Tor. So this rewrite is just really, really exciting. It makes Tor easier to implement in third-party applications. We're just building it in such a way that it's not just a spaghetti mess of overlapping volunteer contributions, and is more coherent and easier to use as a developer. And that's super exciting. And then the other thing I'm excited about is that we're implementing a new cryptographic defense to mitigate attacks on the Tor network into onion services called Counter Gallios Onions, CGO. And that's really exciting, basically evolving our cryptography to, you know, cutting edge standards. And I am excited about both of those things happening at once, and they're really going to make some progress in 2026.
Incredible. And that's so exciting with Rust too. I will always have a special place in my heart for C, because that's what I started with, programming languages was, but you know, that is exciting news.
We're ready to move on as much as we love it.
I know. Rosco, what about you? What are some of the cool developments and exciting updates that are coming up?
Yeah, so I guess the big thing, like I said before, is that you know, we're working on like monetization and sustainability. So I think that is that's our main focus in the coming months. And the way that we're looking at it is, you know, we still want to be like the security public good for the space. So everything that we offer as like the core functionality will always be free and open source. But so the way we're looking at it is that we want to add on a bunch of more, you know, convenience features. You know, we started charging now for batch revoking, for sort of the convenience of not having to click 20 times, which is, and sort of in that same line, we want to monetize more of such functions, things that make you click less and basically spend less time having to worry about your security. So that's also things like more advising, advisory sort of data about which approvals are dangerous or not. Yeah, so just so you can make more informed decisions. Yeah, things like that. So that's coming in the next, hopefully, 3 months. We'll have more sort of things like that, and together with the still existing public goods initiatives, hopefully that will be enough to keep us sustainable.
Absolutely, and I think we can we're going to be excited to host more streams as you roll out these updates, and we can share them with our wider community too. Lauren, tell us more about updates coming up from y'all's end, and what are you excited about in terms of developments?
So I mentioned that last year we proposed EIP 8105, encrypted mempools for Ethereum mainnet. And today we actually proposed that EIP be a headliner for the Hekota hard fork. And we hope that it goes into Hekoda alongside with Fossil. And the reason why I'm excited about this, going back to your point about, cameras always watching us or people always watching us. Whenever you send an unencrypted transaction into Ethereum's public mempool, there are sophisticated bots which are waiting for that transaction. They're constantly scanning, constantly looking, constantly waiting. And they see that transaction before it gets ordered in the block. And there's a couple of things which they can do with that information. They can either manipulate the transaction order in order to give you a worse price. We call that front running and sandwich attacks, also known as malicious MEV. And they can also censor the transaction and either delay it or prevent it from being included in the chain at all. And so what EIP 8105 does is it allows users to choose a key provider to encrypt their transaction and keep it encrypted until it is ordered in the block. And by keeping it encrypted for that limited period of time until the transaction order is fixed in the block, we can prevent malicious MEV, because that's a type of transaction reordering attack, and we can prevent real-time censorship. And then after your transaction is ordered in the block, it's decrypted. Now, the really cool thing about this is that when we talk about key providers, Shutter is not envisioned as the only key provider. We're not trying to insert Shutter into the Ethereum protocol. What we're doing is creating this new kind of actor within the Ethereum transaction supply chain where anyone can become a key provider and offer encryption and decryption services in a competitive marketplace. And we envision that there will be lots of different approaches. Some organizations will use TEEs, others will use MPC or threshold encryption like we do. Some others might use FHE or other types of encryption which emerge in the future. And so this is basically just creating the opportunity for users to protect themselves and protect their transactions against malicious MEV and real-time censorship. So we're looking to build a broad coalition of client teams and Ethereum transaction supply chain actors and DeFi protocols and wallets and users, and basically come together to make Ethereum more fair and credibly neutral by including EIP 8105.
Incredible. So congrats on that. And I hope we get to see it as part of, I keep thinking it's Bogota, but I know it's like Hekota. I always get the names wrong.
Always a star and a depth conversation together. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's awesome. Lefteris, let's go over to you. What are you excited about in terms of developments? And then I have one more question, which is going to be the wrap-up question for everybody too, which is, what difference can an allocation and funding make? For anyone who's watching, obviously we've got a lot of our community right now, and we see a lot of the allocations change during these streams even as people share more. So would love for you all to share more about, what difference that can make and why folks should allocate to you.
All right, then should I answer both questions? Like answer first one and then the other, I suppose, right? Yeah. All right. So then for 2026, what I'm excited about for, in general, I would say for privacy first, not related to Rotki, I would really, really, really love to see a way for us to use LLMs and AI in a local way, because I'm using it way too much and I'm sharing data that I should not be sharing. And I have stopped doing that as much as I can, but it's extremely convenient, and I would really, really love somehow for the big AI LLM, like let's say ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini, so that we can find local alternatives that are at least close to as good. So this is one of my biggest asks, and that I would be very excited if something happens. I have no idea how to do that. For Rotki itself, we have a lot of stuff that we have on the pipeline, and the team is currently working on. So mostly it's performance improvements. There was a mention of Rust before by the Tor guys. We are not written in C, we're written in Python, which for performance is even worse. Like it's bad. And we do have a Rust daemon as part of Rotki, and we are moving some stuff slowly, very, very slowly, in order to improve performance. And of course, Python being Python doesn't have parallelization in a proper way, and we are trying to find ways to, while doing the rewrite, also parallelize things a lot more. This is really going to help with performance. I mean, even the Python guys, they are actually killing the one thing that stops parallelization right now in the next Python, or the next major Python release is called the global interpreter lock, which means we may actually get this for free. So that will be pretty cool. And the other big thing is we want to focus a lot more on the accounting asks of users, and we want to kill the old profit loss report that Rotki has and include it as part of the history events. So the history view that you see all of your events, and basically be able to just do everything in there and not have to duplicate the logic that we currently have. You have the history, and then you do the profit loss report that kind of duplicates the same thing. And there is a lot of asks from users to be able to see historical balance at a particular time, to be able to see a cost basis of an asset at a particular time. All that is coming. It's actually being worked on right now by the team. And this is something that many users have asked us. And on the getting stuff faster, one thing that everybody that has used Rotki has seen is that if you start Rotki the very first time, you will have to wait for a very, very long time, depending on how many addresses you are tracking. And that is because we don't have indexers. We basically just ask everything that we can from every open node, from Etherscan, BlockScout, RootScan, everything that you can. So we want to put for our paid users some indexes that we host. This would be there is privacy concerns that you would say, okay, that you see then your user stuff. We wouldn't. If you want faster, then this is a thing that we would add. We wouldn't enforce it on anybody, of course, but it's one of the biggest asks that people have to do things faster. But of course, this incurs even further costs for us. So this is something that we are going to experiment with, and not sure if we can afford at this point. But as the others said, it's basically hopefully a year that we will become more sustainable and maybe become cash positive if we can stop the churn of paid users and retain this price, the new prices. The idea is to finally at some point become sustainable and depend more on how do you say, like more on our own revenue rather than external revenue from grants such as Octant or agreements with various companies for integrations, etc. And of course, more protocols, more exchanges, and everything. But this is just part of what we have to do on a daily basis. Now, why allocate to us? Basically, just so that we can do all that. Development is expensive, like really, really expensive, and we have a team of 7 people, and well, we would like to be able to build all that. The team is so basically 6 people are devs. One is doing the accounting and bureaucratic stuff for the company itself, and the idea is we are going to be able to, with more funding that Octant could give us. So if you guys allocate to us, do all these things that I said, and maybe even try to do more. You know, like not only improve accounting, not only make the performance better, but maybe also host indexes ourselves and make things faster. it's all basically a matter of funding in the end. But I guess that's the same for every other project.
Absolutely, and thank you for that. And I do hope next year, well, not next year, because we're already in 2026, which I have to remind myself too. I hope this year is the year you become so sustainable that there is no reliance on grants, and y'all are just raking in cash and funding other grants programs to see other tools being built. So I hope this year you get to see that. And absolutely. I think maybe we can also host some streams to our community for folks who should learn about Rotki and should be using it and becoming paid subscribers. So in addition to allocating to Rotki, make sure you also subscribe. Let's move over to you, Rosco. Tell us what the funding and the allocation can mean, and what difference will it make for the community to allocate to you guys?
Yeah. Let me just start by sharing a story about what allocation, like what public goods funding can mean. Since basically, I started Revoke back in 2019 as a side project, essentially. And in 2022, basically Gitcoin allowed me to start working on Revoke as my full-time job. So that's like, those kinds of initiatives actually are the reason why Revoke exists in the way it does, and it's not just some side project that I spend 2 hours a week on. So and over the years that has kind of like continued to grow from there. But I just wanted to like have that sort of as the base of illustration. Yeah, I mean, like Lefteris said, I think the biggest expenses that any project has is in the development and sort of hours of the people working on these things. But also, as Lefteris also said, there's a lot of costs in sort of infrastructure associated to things. And as with Rotki, Revoke also doesn't like use indexers mostly because of cost reasons, where we have hundreds of thousands of free users. So there's a lot of things that we actually cannot improve without increasing our costs by a huge amount. So we it's always sort of like this trade-off between providing the best service and being still able to like manage those costs. So I think every time that we do increase our revenue, be it from grants or now from like normal monetization as well, that will actually allow us to not just build better features, but also provide just a better level of service in general, just because we are able to afford to pay for certain services, pay for certain data as well, that allows us to just improve the product altogether. So we're very happy to see that so far the Octant community has always been very supportive of what we do. And yeah, thanks so much.
Nice. Thank you, Rosco, for the amazing work. And same question to you, Al. What is Tor gonna use the funding for?
So if you're excited about this rewrite into Rust called Arti, which is going to bring some security, privacy, and speed wins, allocating to Tor will help that. You will help us upgrade our cryptography to counter Galileo's onions. Allocating will help that. And you'll help us make privacy easy and fast and translate it into more than 50 languages in many of our apps and act as a base layer for hundreds of other services and millions of users. There are probably roughly 4 million users connected to Tor right now. That's the average of any given time. There's 4 million users connected to Tor. So if you care about bringing privacy to everyone, allocating to Tor is a good way to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. And last but not least, Lauren, what's Shutter doing with Epoch 10 funding?
So a little bird told me that I should use memes in order to communicate. Can you guys see that? I'm trying to share my screen. Can you see it? There we go. Yes. If you want to, so first of all, Octant Epoch 10 is amazing. And there are so many great projects, not just featured on this call, but in the Epoch itself. And if you want to find Shutter among all of these different projects, it's very easy. You just go to the Octant app, Epoch 10, and then use that filter to search by least funded. And Shutter will be right there at the top. That's the easiest way to find us. And I know that we have a little bit of a runway, but we're very careful about using our financial resources as best as possible. In fact, this year or last year in 2025, we actually reduced our team size from 12 people down to 7 people in order to kind of weather the funding drought and to extend our runway so that we can continue to do work in the future. And despite that, we still shipped a lot of amazing stuff. So if you like protecting yourself against malicious MEV and real-time censorship, if you like innovations in permanent private voting for both DAOs and in the real world, if you like collaborations with Octant on Octant v2, then put some GLM on it. We would be honored to receive your support. Yes, please show us some love. Thank you.
I can't. Oh, this meme is just too much.
The knight helmet is from our mascot, Sir Shieldswell. And so you'll see that as a recurring theme in all of our memes.
Well, I think this definitely wins showstopper moment of the stream, if anything.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you, everyone. That was an amazing stream. Sorry that we went a little bit over time, but the conversation was so interesting. And yeah, so bullish on all your projects. You know, for our watchers, for audience here, you know what to do. Go to Octant app and make your allocations. You heard from these 4 amazing projects, and throughout the last couple of weeks from all 24 participating projects. And if you miss the live streams, you can always watch them, or you can also come on Monday to our demo day, where each project is going to have 5 minutes to pitch, give a very brief rundown of what they're doing and the impact that the Octant run would make for them. So don't miss that on Monday at the same time.
Yeah, 10 a.m. Eastern, please watch our demo day. It's a lot of projects. It takes work to pitch. It's nerve-wracking a lot of times. I don't know about you all. You all seem very confident. I get really nervous anytime I'm on a stream. I'm like, oh shit, what am I going to say next? And then my brain just kind of fills up with a lot of just everything in the world, really. So please watch it. Please engage. And one request for anyone who is here, I see that we've crossed 532 views already as well, which is great. It's amazing for a Friday. Please engage with our content. Go spam like and engage, because a lot of people have messaged us saying they're not seeing our tweets. Twitter algorithm's being funky. So if you do engage with our account, then you will most likely see it, and there's a higher chance of that happening. So we're doing that to our favorite accounts too. Please do that to ours, and also do it to all of these other great builders that we have. So go on. We're gonna post a recap tweet tagging everyone's accounts. Go spam like and engage with everyone's accounts here too, so we all get out of this weird Twitter funk. And yes, InfoFi is dead. Long live live streams and long live good content and good conversations. So no to AI slop and yes to content, like, put some GLM on it. So that is what I consider tier A content. Thanks so much for joining us on a Friday. I know y'all probably have a lot of great things to do, but it is so great to see you all join us. And please do allocate to everyone here. It will make a big difference. And then, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone. Have a great
Thanks,
evening,
guys.
day, or night.